All right, so we are live, and today I'm an interviewer again, and but tonight Zane will be interviewee because I will be interviewing Zane on how it is to be a side hustle entrepreneur, uh, what it takes to start, what it takes to preserve in the state of being side hustle entrepreneur. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the preparation that needs to be that needs to be made to become a side hustle entrepreneur? Zane, before we start, would you like to add something? Maybe comment on previous episode. Maybe tell us something interesting that happened in your life during last week.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. So last week, what was happening? Uh, Last week, oh my God, you just threw that at me, and I was thinking, what did I do
Yeah, I
last
know.
week? Last week, anything interesting? I finished an online program, which is very good. About starting a business, actually, about the business that I want to
Okay.
get into. It's about knowledge business, etc. And I'm sure we will get
Mm-hmm.
into it later. That's also on the side. I also started to get into my fitness a bit more. So I now have a coach who is from a CrossFit background, and now I train with her almost every week, and I feel
Mm-hmm.
like dying every single time I finish. But it's great because I when I sign up, she was like, "Oh, why did you want to sign up?" And I was like, "Oh, because I want to do the hard things that can, push you to grow, etc." And I'm very glad that I did. So those things, one thing finished, one thing started, and I'm sure that there'll be something new that comes up as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
Cool. When it comes to sharing something interesting from my side, of course, I managed to watch at least a bit of every game so far during Euro 2020. So,
2021
to,
or
no,
2020.
no, like the official title is still Euro 2020, even
Ah,
because they moved it from last year, but the official title is still Euro 2020. As probably all of you have noticed before, very often I'm wearing football jerseys because I'm a big football fan. Today I'm wearing AC Milan because Italy is playing Switzerland. So I will manage. So let's start with our interview today, so I can make it to the second half of tonight's
on
game.
the show. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So are you ready, Zane? Can we
Let's
start?
go. Let's go.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. Uh, first of all, tell me what is your definition of a side hustle?
Yeah, so my definition of a side hustle is so as the word says, right? Side and hustle. So for me, side hustle is that you have something as a main. It can be a job, it can be a whatever, and side hustle is something you do outside of that main job or main interest that you have been working on. But the key word for me is the word hustle. It's something that you do on the side that makes you work equally hard in your main job. um, I don't care whether it's obviously in the context of this conversation, we're talking about entrepreneur, we're talking about starting a business, but I really don't care whether it's a passion of yours that you have, whether it's an interest, whether it's investing, for example, you want to learn about, but it's something that requires to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, that makes you push yourself to work a bit harder than you do on the side. For me, that is my definition of a side hustle, because I think people would think that side hustle always means starting a job, starting something different, starting this, starting that. But actually, if you have a passion for, I don't know, painting, and you go all in on your painting, on the side you're creating lots of artwork, for me that is a side hustle. So that's my definition of it. Do you see side hustle very differently, or would that be your same interpretation?
So for me, so from my point of view, when it comes to being a full time entrepreneur, my side hustle would be some another business, uh, that I would do on the side that would be less time consuming, and that would be but actually you can view it from in two ways, right? Either less time consuming, so this split of your own time, but also maybe income wise. So for example, my idea for my plans for let's say next half a year is to grow my current business to such a state that I can spend less time on it and I can start a new business. So from the time thing view, then uh, this new venture will be my main hustle, and this current business will be my side hustle. But probably from the income point of view, it still will be my main hustle, and side hustle will be what I will be focusing on in let's say 6 months, right? All right. So let's move on to the second question, which is about your first time. Of course, not sexually, but your entrepreneurially first time. So when was the first time that you have realized that you want to do something extra, something on your own, something outside your day-to-day work job?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a few years ago. So I still remember how everything all happened, which is, I obviously, when you finish graduate uni, you came out, I obviously got a job, which I was quite happy about. Finish, you got a job, and then at that time I had to start driving to get to work at 7, and then by finish when I get to home it's about 6. Then I get ready to go to the gym and all that stuff. Long day, right? Long day. And then there's one morning I was just like getting ready. I was driving and I was thinking like, is that it? Like, is there more to it, or is this the grown up adult life? And that was when I started to like look for answers, and I got into personal development, obviously, and then it was all about finding where you want to go next, where you are, etc. But then that also opens up lots of opportunities about how can you improve your life, not just mentally better, but also potentially physically better, financially better. And it's when it comes to the financially better piece, you start to see how there's other industries out there apart from the ones that you just work at. There are people who earn money using different skills, techniques, knowledge, strategies that you go, oh wow, I never realized that this was a thing. So you start to find out that that's quite interesting. I want to learn a bit more about that. And as time goes by, you start to see more and more people are able to do the same thing. You start to hear more people's stories about how they went from an underdog, they might be in debt, and then suddenly they become very successful in their entrepreneurial journey. They don't have anything, then suddenly they came out, they're able to give their family a better life, etc. You start to hear all these stories. And then that was when I started to realize that, okay, if these people can do it, then at first, I have to admit, at first I was like, oh yeah, that's them. Like, I'm not that smart. I'm not that whatever. And then the more you hear people talk about, you start to question yourself, like, is it true? Like, why can't I do that? Why can't I become a person who starts something like that? And that was when I started to realize that, you know what, actually, I can do something outside of my work, and let's just try it out and see whether it would work or not. So for me, I can't remember I can't tell you the exact date, the exact time, the exact whatever. But it's definitely like when I started to get into that journey, you start to get exposed to all these opportunities, that you start to hear all these stories. You go, I think I can do it. And when you just have a little moment of like, I think I can, that's when you start to break out and go inside and explore more. That's my story. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So at that point, you knew that you want to do something, let's say, different outside of your day-to-day job. But tell us, how did you make a decision between becoming a side hustle entrepreneur and not full-time entrepreneur? Why not taking, this full skinny dip instead
Yeah.
of, just dipping your toes in that water?
Yeah. So there is a reality consideration here. So obviously, but people listening to this might not know that I'm not born in the UK. I came here as an international worker. I work on restrictions. There's visa, etc. I have a vision, right? Going forward is that I would like to be able to stay somewhere long term. That I have identity that I can give, let my parents, my family explore a different life. They can. I love the idea of them being able to spend half a year with me in a country when it's nice, summer, weather is great. But when it's winter and horrible and gray, they can go home. I love the idea of that. So that's like one thing I want to achieve. So, and I know that I have to spend the time to earn that identity first over here under rules and legal regulations, legalities, etc. So, okay, I know that I have to stick to that, right? Like stick to that, make the time work, etc. But at the same time, I thought, you know what, that is 5 years before I can do something else. But I think to myself, do I want to wait 5 years to do something else then, or can I do something in the meantime to start to test the water, like you say, dip my toe in the water, see whether this is for me? So that's why I thought, you know what, yes, I can't jump in all in for now because I have a vision I want to achieve, but for now I can start to do something on the side, right? I've got an income that I can spare a bit of income on. I've got time when I finish work to do this. I can spend an hour or two every day just to try things out, testing out, learn all the things I want to learn. So say, for example, when the time comes that I can do it, then I'm like, you know what, I've already got everything, I can go. So I think that was my decision-making process. It's just very simple, in my opinion. It's like I have something that I care about, a result that I care about. I know that I have to go through this to make that happen. And this is my decision-making process. And I think for people who are watching or listening, it's like, if you are in a stage where you're deciding, do I want to do a side hustle, do I want to do a full-time entrepreneur? If you don't, I think the most important thing is that really understand what your decision-making process is going to be like. It doesn't really matter for me. I think you can start a side hustle, you can start a full-time entrepreneur. Either way, it's going to require some effort from you. So more of a question is like, even if I work full-time, right, I can just go, oh, I'm really tired working day, I don't need to do a side hustle. It's like, I'm not putting that effort in. It doesn't matter which one I pick. So I guess more of the question is that, are you ready to know that once you step into this, it's going to take some work, effort, potentially also financial investment from you to really make this work? Because it's like a baby. You don't want to have a baby but not commit to it. It's like, well, then the baby is going to die, even though you have a lovely, nice baby in front of you, but you have to feed it, you have to put some love, put some effort, make it work, time, etc. It's like having a puppy as well, right?
Having a puppy,
commit.
right?
Having a puppy, yeah. It's like you have to commit. So I guess for me, it's not so much which one you pick. It's like, are you really ready to put in the effort, etc. If you are, then you can start to think about, okay, I'm not really ready to let go of this yet. Can I do this, etc. So for example, I think it's completely okay if people think that obviously for me, I know you're full-time in this game, but for me it's like, you know what, I'm not really ready to let go of my full-time job yet, just because I'm still doing great. I have lots of things to learn. I'm getting lots of things. It gives me that comfort for me to try something. So even if I fail, I know that there's a line there. Obviously, people can think differently. I respect all the decisions, but for me, that was what my decision-making process is. So I guess for everyone, it's very different, but you need to find out what works for you.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, it's like so entrepreneurship. It's like walking the line, and I walk the line without the safety net. But I said earlier that to some extent I know that I have a safety net because I have a college like let's be honest, I have 2 degrees, I have amazing experience. So worst case scenario, I go to the regular job, and for you is just walking the line with having this safety net all the time. So you are
It's a
pretty
great
sure that
it's a great analogy.
yeah.
So, but I think it's like, I don't want people to think that, oh yeah, you have a safety line, so you don't have to work as hard. It's like, no, your job
No,
is that
no,
the
no.
safety line, exactly, is there to protect you, but you still have to focus on crossing that line, not falling down to that safety net. And I think that is the delicate balance that people need to get.
Yeah, it's not about killing yourself on this line. It's about let's say if you fall down, then you will be disappointed, and because you are in the safety net. If I fall down, let's say, then I will have a few marks on my ass. I will have my ass beaten, and I will just have to get up there again and try again. But yeah,
Absolutely.
so you told us, how did you decide between being a side hustle entrepreneur, full-time entrepreneur, how you made that decision. But tell us now, how do you how do you manage to juggle between your day-to-day job and your side hustle business?
It's hard. It's really hard. And I say it's hard because your full-time job requires to be 100% of you. Your side hustle requires to be 100% of you. And I mean 100%, not just physically, but also mentally. So, and it can drain you really, really, really quickly. So the way that I would do it and I would juggle it is that obviously I start off my day with my full-time job first. And I was like, and I keep telling myself, right, that I don't want to sacrifice or sabotage my performance at my full-time job. Like, that is not the right way to do it. So I put in 100% on my full-time job. I learn, I push myself as hard. But once I finish my full-time job, let's say 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or 4 o'clock, doesn't matter. I have to break off a bit, right? So I break for, normally I go to the gym for a workout. And for me, that's like training, right? So that's like physically I'm going through hard time as well. But for me, that was the time that I can break away from things. I can listen to some music. I can do something. And then I will finish that. I will come home and I will give myself some time to just relax. When I say relax, I think watch some YouTube, watch some whatever, do something that's completely non-work related. And then when it comes to like 8 o'clock, 8:30 or 9, I decided like, okay, time. It's time to learn something today. It's time to create something today. And that's it for the rest of the evening. Sometimes it's an hour of work. Sometimes it's 2 hours of work. Sometimes I don't sleep until 12:30 and then I'm up 7 o'clock next day in the morning. So it's really hard. Some days that you do wake up and think like, oh wow, there's lots of things going on. I know that in our previous episode when we talked about our mental health, I had a bit of an overwhelmed situation, right? Because I was like, there's so many things I need to work on, etc. So it's a very tiring thing. But for me, the way that I would juggle it is that I will really pay a lot of attention to my physical health, mental health, and more important, my energy level. It's like if I feel low energy, then I will be like, okay, something's wrong here. I need to change things a little bit. I need to find the right balance. If I feel like now, like I'm bringing my full energy, I know, okay, I'm doing something here that actually fuels me. So what is it about it? Is it the time that I got right? Is it because I didn't go to the gym because it's rest day? Or I don't know. There must be something that makes me feel a bit different, right? So for me, it's that I have to pay attention to my energy. No drugs, no alcohols. I don't drink 5 million cups of coffee a day. So no, but you have to really pay attention to that, and seriously though, like no, I didn't think about that. No, No, but
Sorry, I just wanted to add some, positive vibes here. So,
no, exactly.
so
Exactly.
sorry.
It's like I would think that you definitely got it wrong if you drink 5 millionth cup of coffee just to keep you like energized, like no. So for me, it's literally that, it's like I pay attention to my energy level and I see how I
Mm.
spend my time here, how I spend my time there. Is it the right balance? If it's the right balance, I will feel okay throughout the whole day. Next day I wake up, I'm ready to go again. So for me, it's that, just pay attention to how you work out basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm,
Definitely.
yeah.
I just wanted to add something on what I said about about drugs.
About
Uh,
cocaine.
so okay, it's a bit of self promotion here, but in my last newsletter, so every week I release a newsletter from my company, which is called Hustletter, because my company real hustlers marketing. And I mentioned, so there is a section about productivity there, and I mentioned that that we cannot weaken our stress resistance. And people very often think that, yeah, I will have a drink, I will do drugs, and they think that it will help them to cope with stress, but actually it's damaging, it's decaying the stress resistant system, so even I brought up some personal story there, but I don't want to go deep into that, just some
We
sideline
can,
remark.
we can
So
spend we
let's
can take another episode to talk about stress, right? That would be a good
yeah,
one to mm,
definitely, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so next question from me, but also probably from our audience. Uh, Tell us about your misconceptions that you had before you started a side hustle, and also about the misconceptions that people have when you tell them that you are hustler,
Mm,
side hustler.
mm. So for me is that I think everyone starts off a side hustle thinking that they want to earn money. And for me, there's nothing wrong about that, but you have to be really careful when you come from that angle, because um, the truth for me is a side hustle is successful if you are able to work out what you actually like and you enjoy doing. For
Hmm.
me, side hustle is not so much just about, and I'll be honest with people, right? If side hustle was about earning money, I've already lost. I've already failed because I have earned zero from my side hustle. And I've actually spent money running ads and all this stuff. But here's the thing. I realized, I learned I can actually impact and change my mentees, my coaches' life. They literally make life-changing decisions because I talk to them, because I encourage them to make a leap, make a jump, and I know that I can do it. So that gave me a lot of confidence to know that, you know what, I never thought I could do it, and I actually can make it happen in someone else's life. And second thing is, it makes me realize how much skills I'm passionate about learning. For example, when I'm nothing but doing Facebook ads, I'm like, wow, tell me more about marketing. Tell me more about digital marketing. I realized that I love this thing, So for me, you're going to say something?
Yeah, continue, and I will just add on top of that.
Okay, so for me, it's like, it's not just about money. Yeah, yes, I want to be able to make money, and that is the ultimate
Hmm.
goal. But for me, the side hustle is really building up the foundational skills, the foundational marketing, the foundational sales techniques, the foundational understanding of who your customers are, how to do your research, how to do your homework, how do you add value, what does add value actually mean to people. You get all those foundational rights, and once you spend enough time to learn your lessons here, I believe all these things about money, they will just follow.
Hmm.
But if I don't spend the time to get these foundationals right and I just focus on making money, I would have really getting out of this game, because I thought, oh, I'm not making the money, I'm out. But no,
Hmm.
because my focus was on, what do I want to get out of this side hustle? For me, it's like the skills, your knowledge. Do I have people really want to learn? And most importantly for me is my identity. It's like today, if you strip out my identity, right, because of a pandemic we just went through, if I lost my job today, I know I can start something like that the next day because I've spent the time to learn the skills that I need. I've invested in learning the knowledge that I want to know so that I can start a business. I'm good to go. You know, it's very scary when I hear one of my friends told me that I asked him one question. I asked him, if I strip away your work identity, you're no longer, I don't know, an engineer, you're no longer oh my God, a manager, you're no longer an employee 9 to 5, who would you be? He cannot answer it. And he was like, he actually don't know what he's going to do next. And I think that is scary. I'll finish off with saying a quote that I saw on Twitter. It's like skills, knowledge, experience, etc. It's like, let me think how he said it. It's like, the best thing that can happen is that you have it when you don't need it. But the worst thing that can happen is that you don't have it, but you need that thing.
Interesting.
You know, the worst thing is that you need it, but you don't have it. And you don't want to get into that situation because you need that thing, but then I don't have it. But for me, is that I may not need all these skills now because I've got that level of blanket. But if that get stripped away from me, I have it, but I don't need it. This thing will then sweep around, and what I need, I already have. So for me, this is my first step. I always think my first step is I want to make sure that I have the credibility. So for people who don't know, I'm into coaching, etc. So there are lots of people out there who are doing all these things. But for me, it's like I want to make sure I'm actually helping someone. I have the skills, the knowledge for me first, so that I am honest and authentic to myself and to my clients. Then I'll worry about money as the next thing. I know you're going to say something.
Yeah, so I wanted to say that you said that you earned zero, but actually how I view it is just your earnings are just intangible at the moment, you know. You have earned loads of human capital, I would say, for yourself. So your experience, your new skills and stuff like that. And also so a turn from microeconomics, no, actually from microeconomics. So with your work you caused some positive externalities, so you cannot put monetary value to it specifically, but you made the good to the society in some way. So this positive externality of your side hustle activity. That's how I view it.
It's nice that you mentioned that because it just reminded me of because of these things, I start to like think, oh, I don't want to just put like some pep talks on Instagram and just people are like, oh yeah, you can make it, you can do it, blah blah blah. But I just share my stories, right? Like I'm really struggling with this, but these are the things that I've learned. Do you have this problem? These are the things that I want to share with you. Everyone's got some bad days, and when you have some bad days, try this, try that. No one likes, right? Like no one likes that content, blah 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 blah. But when you occasionally speak to people, sometimes suddenly they say, oh, the content that you put out, like, is very nice. They're really inspiring. And I was like, what? Because I wasn't expecting them to say that. And clearly people did see it. It's just they didn't take action to comment or like or whatever. And I think that's the thing, right? Which is exactly your point. Is that it's the intangibles, it's what you put out there. And when people say that, it just reaffirms to you that what you put out actually resonates with people. And yes, it will be great that they give you the feedback, but it doesn't matter. Now that you have that feedback in some way, you know that you're on the right path, you're on the right way of doing it, and you just keep doing more of it. So for me, yes, money is important. Yes, you should be earning money. But for me, it's more about getting the foundations right first within the amount of time, energy, and effort that you have. Then when you go into that space of earning money, you've got the skills, you've got the stories, you've got the background, you've got all you need to make that happen.
Just adding on top of that, I believe it was Gary Vee who said that if you are doing something that you are passionate about, you will eventually become good at it, and if you are good at it, you will eventually find someone who will be willing to pay you for what you are doing good, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's move on, because we have two more questions, very important questions for our audience. So first question, first of last two questions. What is the most important lesson that you have learned about being side hustle entrepreneur?
I would say it is have the courage to do it. And actually, interestingly, if people can see the boards behind me, I actually have the word courage over there, one of the columns. Reason why it's hard is because you have to step into a new identity. You have to step into putting yourself out there, and you have to be willing to face what people are potentially going to think about you or say about you or even judge you, right? It's like sticking your neck out, waiting for people to go. In some sense, it's like being a celebrity, you know? If you are a Kardashian, if you are a, I don't know, if you are a James Bond, I can't remember what the guy's name is.
Pierce Brosnan or Daniel Craig? Pick one.
I will pick Daniel Craig just because it's Daniel.
Okay.
Okay, I'll pick Daniel
enough.
Craig, for example. Like, there are millions of people who like him, but there are also, I'm sure, millions of people who think he's shit as a James Bond, right?
Yeah.
So it's like there's no. But does Daniel Craig care? He probably doesn't care. He just cares about, have I done my best job in bringing James Bond to life, right? So for me, the same mindset has applied here, which is sometimes, I'll be honest, I'm afraid of posting things on Instagram because no one's going to like it. People are thinking you're full of yourself. People are going to think like, oh, who does he think he is? I think it's completely normal. You know, and I have to tell you that making those steps are very hard. People might think, oh, it's just a post. But for me, it's not just a post because there's all the stories that go behind it. Like, but doing the step of posting things out there and not care so much, for me, it's a courageous act. Running an ad that has got 120 people land on your landing page and no one sign up is a courageous step, because now you learn your lesson. Something on your landing page is not right, you know, or your message didn't quite get across. Then you start to learn from there. For me, it's like spending some time investing in mentors and people or community is a courageous step, because you want to learn from people who are a few steps ahead of you, just like how we are now. There might be people who are just starting out, but they're doing this. Us doing this, I think we're making some courageous step, right? We might not know everything about entrepreneurship yet, but we're learning, you know? And some people are looking this might go, so for example, no one's watching this live now, but do we care? We didn't care. Yes, we care, but we care more about, are we adding the real value to people so that at some day, 200 episodes later, people will come back and go, wow, they started off like this and I can do it as well. So for me, it's just have to find a way to summon that courage from time to time. It's not going to be there for you. You have to consciously summon it up. It's like there, you have to, when you're going to about do something, you can feel the butterflies, etc. But that's not fear. That's just your adrenaline getting you ready so that you have the courage to step up and go, okay, one step at a time. Boom, boom, boom. So for me, that is the most important lesson I myself have learned, and I think that most people would be beneficial learn that as well.
Okay. So another question would be kind of similar, but maybe try to make it in just one or two sentences. So what would be the one thing that you would like to tell people who want to become a side hustle entrepreneur?
I would not say, I think people will always just say, oh yeah, just do it. It's like a Nike slogan, just do it. I was like that doesn't really help anybody. So
really? Okay, I have opposing view on that. So
I think it helps, but it needs some context. You know, if people just tell me the one thing is like just do it, it's like you need to tell me more, because I think it leads to the same the courage thing that we are talking about. But for me, if there's one thing that I would tell people who wants to become a side hustle entrepreneur is, I think it links back to why I talk about your identity, etc. Right? It's like before you decide to step into becoming a side hustle entrepreneur, is get things super clear on what is it that you want to get out of this. For me, it's very clear. I didn't think about money first. For me, is am I fulfilling or making the most of who I am as a person and my potential? Because I don't want to wait 50 years later when I wake up and think, oh, I could have tried that. Oh, I could have tried this. You know, so for me, I don't want that regret. No. And that's how I see myself. You know, I didn't start this to make millions of money, millions of dollars or whatever. No, that was not why I started. I started because I got something that I can squeeze out of myself a bit more. So your job is to find out what you want to squeeze out a bit more. I know you want me to finish it in 1 or 2 sentences, so I would just say that it doesn't matter if you don't want to do a side hustle. It's fine. Doesn't matter. At the end of the day, no one gives a shit. But if there is a little bit of you inside that thinks I can do just a bit more, then do it. So for me, that's the just do it that comes in, because it's that bit that can potentially open up a whole new world for you. Mic drop.
Okay, yeah, great. I really liked it. Yeah, it was amazing, powerful speech. I hope it will be used on our Instagram. So yeah, just a reminder: follow our Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, because it really helps algorithms. And honestly, if you help us with such simple things as commenting, following, subscribing, thumbing up, then we will be able to grow. We will be able to deliver better content in the future. That's simple.
Why don't we do something interesting, Dan? I don't know. It's just an idea that just pops up, right? If there are people who liked or commented something or whatever, or just need some help, you know, if you're just starting out and need some help, what if we spend half an hour that says whoever who does that, or just leave a comment and tell us that, oh, they want to start this, they've got questions. If we do a private session with them, would you be up for that?
Yeah, free coaching session, free half an hour coaching session from me and Zayne. If you leave a comment on why it should be you that we should coach for half an hour, and it's not that we will be picking just one person. We will pick actually anyone who we will find suitable for it. If you give us valid reason for that, then we will go for it. Yeah,
exactly. Sounds like a good idea. So anyone, you know, you can drop us a DM on Instagram if you don't feel like you want to be, I don't know, public for some reason. Drop us a DM on Instagram. Like Dan said, give us a like, comment below, or subscribe. It would really help. We really want to help a lot more wannabe entrepreneurs. I think the world needs a bit more people like us to do things we're passionate about. It's also about living our own life, living our own legacy. So yeah, any parting comments, Dan?
I would like to just add that we rearranged the format of the show. So from now on, so what happened tonight? It was like an interview between just two of us, and this kind of interview will happen every 5 episodes, just like the guest speaker interviews happen every 5 shows. And there are 3 other formats that will be happening every 5 shows. So next week we will have a game. So just like a business idea game we had like 4 weeks ago, this time we will come up with some new game because we want to keep it interesting. In 2 weeks time We will again talk about some personal strategies, productivity habits, something more about lifestyle, I would say. But we have to remember our lifestyle influences our business. And after lifestyle episode, we will come again with how to episode. So whiteboard session with explaining some concepts, with explaining how to use something that is necessary for your business, just like lean canvas that we used 2 weeks ago. And of course then guest interview episode, which is probably the most interesting. Of course, every episode is interesting, but guest episodes is guest speaker episodes are very interesting for ourselves as well. So yeah, that's it. I said a lot, and I think I explained everything pretty clearly.
Pretty good. Cool. We'll leave it there. We'll be back next week and see you all.
Yeah, bye.
Take care.